Surely your life is organized, tidy, your thoughts aren't all over the place, and you don't forget anything that pops into your head 5 minutes after. You have everything written down in your notes app, right? See, why not upgrade to a grown-up system and have 6 or more notebooks to keep all that information in there?
Very nice.
See, I've been known to carry around notebooks pretty much my whole life. My mum makes fun of me for it. On some days that would be a sketchbook, other days it would be a notebook. But now I can say that I've actually kind of come across a system that works for me and it helps me organize my life, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to show you all of my books, all the notebooks, and specifically what I use them for, in case, you know, you might find some use out of it and you might bring it into your own life. You might have this system, or you might want to copy it exactly how it is. That's up to you. And I'm going to help you stop using your phone to write things down, because if you want to get serious, get rid of that notes app, man. Use a notebook. These are books dedicated to doing work and working on projects and thinking up of ideas and all that stuff. This is my, I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it, my project book. Here is where ideas are developed. This is probably the most important one of all these books here. It's, for example, the place where I'm writing this very video in. What I've started doing recently is whenever I think of a video or an idea, the first thing I do is think of what it's going to do for the people watching it. What are you going to get out of it? The first thing on my mind. For example, in this video, I wrote down that you're going to be able to see my organization system, and with that, you're going to be able to hopefully bring it into your own life. I got the idea from Park Notes. Awesome guy, shout out to you. Thank you for making me use 7 notebooks at a time. This book also goes hand in hand with a different one, which I'm going to show you in a bit. Also note that this is not just for YouTube videos. If I have an idea for a painting, the idea will be developed in this very book. It's the projects one. This is pretty much a workhorse for everything I do. And the reason I use this is because otherwise I would just forget the idea and it would never get developed. But if I actually put time and effort into it and I write it all out, it'll keep on my mind and I'll always remember that it's there. This has also helped me with my videos because I used to always just sort of throw everything out there and do it at the same time. This has helped it be a little bit more organized, so with like a script or anything. I made sure to get a nicer one. I was going to get a Midori MD for this, but I realized that I like Muji a lot and they're a lot cheaper, and it's still a very nice notebook, so I do recommend you get something a little bit nicer than your usual notebooks. Maybe get a Moleskine. They have a strange name and have yellow paper. It's up to you what you want to do. This here is the ideation notebook, and it looks very fancy. Look at that. It's got an elephant. This I got as a gift from my mother. I believe it's from Thailand, and I didn't really know what to use it for. It doesn't really suit my style of getting simple books, but I figured it would be lovely to use for an ideation book, which is where all hell breaks loose. There's no system, no organization. This is a brain dump. This is any idea that comes into your mind. It gets put into here, and then whenever I am short on what to do, I don't know what video to do, then I'll go scroll over here in my wisdom book and I'll have here. Maybe I'll bleep that out. You may confuse something like this with a journal. This is not a journal. This is an ideation book. Get it right. It's really just a place where you spill everything out. So this is why it's part of the work group. This is where I'll put work-related ideas for YouTube videos, art. I even have like a shelf project that I want to make. When I'm ready to take on an idea, it will develop in here. So these 2 books are like brothers in arms. These 2 books is where all the work is going to be developed and done. Without these 2, I would be pretty screwed. I wouldn't have my head in the right place, and it would just be in a notes app where I'd forget about it, because you have to write things down physically. Write it down physically if you want to continue. If you want to develop something, you're serious about an idea, you're going to write it down physically. You're not going to go in your little notes app and type it away and then forget about it in 2 minutes, because your brain's not wired that way. So these 2 are perfect for each other, but we also have a little third one, which is actually going to be later in the video. I want to mention this one because it's the most important book of all, and it's going to work with every single one of these that I mentioned. Now let's talk about the rest of the books. First, I'm going to start off with the car service book, which I forgot in my car. Quite useful. It's a very simple book where you keep track of any maintenance or service that you've done to your car. So recently I got an oil change. I wrote down the kilometers that are on the car, miles, depends on where you are. I wrote that down there, and if I were to now go get my brakes changed, I'll write that down. What this does is it helps me keep track if my car is being maintained well. It helps me remember that I've maintained this part, this part, this part. This may need a change. Anything like that is going to go in there, and it's not only helpful for me now, but in case I go to sell the car in the future, I can then present the book if someone believes me. I know it's not like exact, I could keep receipts. I should probably do that. I'm passing down something that's been taken care of, you know, you can trust me. Next is an interesting one. It's called a Things I Want notebook. If you are materialistic, I am slightly, I've come to realize that you would want one of these books, because this is where you're going to write everything you want. Like, you have an idea, you're like, man, I really want this new camera for my YouTube channel. You're going to write it down here just so I can keep track of it as almost a goal. It's not a goal, but this is something I want to get in my life, and this is going to help me remember it. Money comes around, I can have a look at these things and be like, what's on my want list? Oh, look at that. Rode wireless mic. Do I have some spare money this month? Yes, I allocate it to this, and it's kind of just keeping track here. I've also recently started looking at it a little bit differently since I've read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Great book. But I've recently started writing what is a, for example, asset and what is a liability to my kind of own definition, because obviously these things aren't like stocks or investments, but a camera can be seen as an investment for me because it's something I care about and it's something that's going to help me make better videos in the future. That is labeled as an asset for me. But if I go and have a look at something like a Mont Blanc, the pen, stupidly expensive, it's a liability because it's just a pen which costs a lot of money. You know, it's kind of throwing money away. So I've recently started labeling these things as well, just to kind of help myself and think of them in a smarter way and be a little bit smarter with my money. And finally, with the whole money talk thing, I now have an expenses book. In here, I am writing down the things I spend money on. The most powerful notebook, the holy grail. It's this catch-all notebook. This is another idea presented to me by Park Notes. Awesome guy. It's the most important book you're going to own because this is what you have on you at all times. This is more important than your phone. Tap around your pockets and you don't feel this, but you feel your phone, you should be worried. This is what you carry around with you daily, and a pen or some sort of writing instrument, and you write down everything here to then be offloaded into all of this here. Reason why is because you don't want to carry around 7 notebooks with you everywhere you go. That sucks. You don't want to be doing that. You can use this for things like to-do lists. Simple as that. You can use it as a little planner or as a little calendar. Let's say I have an idea that I want to start ideation for. Like, I want to start the whole phase of ideation. I'll write it down in here, and then when I'm home, I'll put it into this book, and then I'll develop it, and then after that I'll put it into this book. And this may all seem tedious, but this whole process is solidifying that idea in my head. And the point is that you're not like too expressive in here. You don't use like 50 pages because it's a small book. Don't use 50 pages for something. You have to do bullet points, do little notes. There you go. Color coding words for videos. Use red for negative, green for positive, and yellow for anything in between. Simple note for myself. I have it here, and now it's more in my brain and I'll remember it because I wrote it down. This is just a place for you to keep control of your life and keep organized and not have to go on your phone every time. To let you know what this is, because I've found this recently, it's been a great book for this. It's a Muji A6 recycled paper notebook. It has plenty of pages, I think over 150. It does the job, and its job is to be a book that can gather a patina. You know, you're going to throw this around. You're not to be gentle with this. You're supposed to just use this as offloading every idea you have, and then offloading every idea from here to the other books. So my final thoughts on all of this. Find all of these books that I mentioned here. Find whatever works for you. You don't have to have 7 like me. That's I know I'm a bit weird. But you don't need 7 books, but you can use any of these to make your life easier. That's what I did. I saw Park Notes. He has many books. He has so many books. And I kind of just pick and chose what works for me at the time and what I want to use. And if anything, have a catch-all. Just have a little book like this and carry it around with you and use it more than your phone. We're a little bit too obsessed with our phones nowadays. Anything that can get us away from technology for a bit is a good thing in my eyes. And if you're serious about your ideas and your work, you're going to write it down on a physical book. If anything that you take away from this video, it's that. Take care, go write some stuff in your notebook, go sketch some stuff in your sketchbook, and let me know in the comments below if you use any of these sort of things as your systems.